Hey, thank y'all for stopping by and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I think you can see there in the background the big lake Texoma. We down here doing some striper fishing. You know how long it's been since the cowboy got to go fishing at all? Because in my part of the state, there ain't much water you can dip a pole in, but 1984 was the last time I was on this lake and we caught some striper. But today, oh, the good game wardens took me out in the big boat. They tried to drown me around the corner there once or twice, but I hung on and we did catch some fish. But we're gonna cook them what I call just easy and simple, or bake. They'll have a great sauce on them when they get started. And we got us some hardwood lump there that's going, and we're just gonna start this out with really the basics. And what is it? Hey, you gotta have something for them fillets to lay on when you get them in here in that Dutch oven, because we don't want them to just sit right there on hot iron. So we're talking about what? I'm talking about lemon. And you want to cut them to where they're about that thick. That way we've got something that we can place in here and things are going to sort of try to stay level on occasion. We just need to cover that oven pretty well. Try not to leave too many vacant spots in it to where somebody don't fall apart. And you could use lemon, you could use onion, anything as a buffer to set there in the bottom of that Dutch oven. Or if you've got just a small insert that you can put in there, they make a round grate that'll fit right on there with a washer, so you can get that up off the bottom of that. Works fine. But I think the lemon does bring some more flavor to it, and that's sort of what we're after today, is get the most out of what we caught, because we went to a little effort, but not a whole lot. Anytime that I'm gonna bake a piece of fish or even grill a piece of fish, I like to score it just a little right here. You ever seen that fish when you cook it, stuff wanna try to curl up at the end? Well, this will prevent that. And it works really well too if you're doing it on salmon. Just go ahead and score it. Just go down to the bottom of the skin. Don't go all the way through. And also, this will let that seasoning get in there a little deeper to where everybody gets a little bite of it as we go. Today, we're putting our original seasoning on there. It's got a little citrus base to it, so it really works well on fish. And it's just like where I live in southwest Oklahoma. You can tell the breeze is blowing in that direction, so aim wherever you need it to be, and that'll be the right spot it gets on. And then right on top the lemons they go. They work as a buffer, but also for flavor. But just make sure they ain't sitting directly on that iron. Now we're going to take us some good Kerrygold butter. I need you to just cut some slabs out there, place around in there, because we gotta have something to keep a little moisture in there. And it really doesn't take that long for this to cook, because you just want that fish to bake till it's good and flaky. Make sure you get butter on everybody that's participating in there. And then we're going to take this lemon and slice it as thin as we can. And we're just going to lay some right on top of that butter. And it's going to make a little bit of sweetness that comes out there at the end. So make sure everybody gets one. Then we're going to top it off with a little rosemary and some fresh dill weed. And then we're going to take it to the fire. So on the dill weed, and the first time I ever seen this, I knew why they called it a weed. It looks a lot like a wild mustard in Oklahoma, but it ain't got no yellow blooms. But it does go really well with fish. And I like to just go ahead and pull some off that stalk. We'll put her down here and try to chop it up pretty fine if we can. And however you like it, if you like a bunch of it, you put a bunch over there. But to me, it gets a little overpowering if you put too much. So we're just sort of going to keep it light here and hope everybody gets a little on them for the wind. And we'll save a little of that, because a little of that dill is going to go in that sauce. Rosemary. Cut them in half and just lay them in there anywhere, because they're going to help and give us some good flavor that we need. And you can always think it's better when you're cooking with something that's fresh herb-wise. So one more sprinkling of seasoning, just in case everybody didn't get a little to start with. Put a lid on it. I'll meet y'all at the fire. All right, so you've seen me place all this in this 14-inch, what I call a deep oven. Now, the reason I like to use a 14, sure, it's wider here at the base than a 12 is going to be, but I prefer a deep oven when you're baking fish, because I don't want that. If we was in a shallow 12, we'd be sitting about right here with that lid, and them coals would be really close on top to the top of them fish. We want that to just cook really lightly on top. Most of the heat's going to come from the bottom, so let's get after it. We got a trivet over here we're going to set in, and people ask, a trivet? I say, yeah. You know, we make a lot of these, and it gets that Dutch oven up off the ground. We make a 3.5 inch and a 5 inch. Well, today with the breeze we got, we're going to use a 5. And remember, I'll be showing you here in a minute, but rotation will be your friend when we're cooking in this Dutch oven. All right, when you're cooking something in a Dutch oven, the common mistake that people make the most is way too much heat. We can add heat to it if it's not done, but if it's burnt, it's too late. So always really start with less than what you think. I try not to ever get any coals directly under a Dutch oven, and when that wind is blowing, we have created us a microwave. I put them that close for a reason, just so y'all could see me rake them back a little ways from it, because that stuff will get hot in the wind today. It'll take this probably close to 15-20 minutes to cook. We'll check it every once in a while. And when I was talking to you about rotation, we're going to rotate that lid half a turn one way, the bottom half a turn the other. That way we even out any hot spot of coals we might have from one side to the other. So we'll check her here in about 10 minutes and see how things is coming along. Well, while them strappers is over there baking in that Dutch oven, you know, to me, sauce really complements a baked fish really well. So I put this together years ago, and I always sort of fall back to it, and that's to start out with some good mayonnaise. And you can make this to where it's a drizzle sauce or a dipping sauce. It doesn't make me no difference, but we got to have some horseradish to go in there, because I really like a little heat to my stuff, and that's going to balance out really well with some, what you call it, Worcestershire sauce. Them folks over there, they always get on to me across the pond and say, you don't know how to spell it. Well, I don't know how to say it either. So you call it whatever you want to. Now with all that lemon and stuff we got in there, we want to counteract a little bit of that with some sweetness. So right there at the end, we're going to add some honey. We'll taste this before we ever get our plum ready to go to see if we need to add anything to it. But it works well on anything. Takes a place of tartar sauce at my house, it does. So let me get this stirred up. We'll give it a taste and see if we're close or not. We are close. So in that, we're going to add just a tad of seasoning. And if your fish likes a little getting ready, go ahead and chill that in the ice box. And when it comes out, you can just sort of spoon you some on there, or rake it on there however you want it, or dip it in there. It goes well on everything. Well, it is a done deal. It is. Stick a fork in it. It is time to go. And it is a right pretty sight sitting in that Dutch oven. It is. Always be sure you let them cool a little bit before you try to get them out. You're more apt to get a whole one on the plate that way. So we're going to see if we can't slip under here. Get us one of them out of here. And he was so easy, we're going to go for 2. Now, the stuff that I really like, because it goes on everything really well. I don't want you to be overpowering, but I want you to have some of it on you. Well, folks, we're going to let them cool off just a minute before we have a bite. But hey, I think I need to go back and check it off the list right at the top and make sure that I thank the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife, Outdoor Oklahoma, but also Billy Bob and Grant for taking me out there fishing. Oh my gosh, don't get no better than that. And folks, I'm just telling you, there's a lot of water in Oklahoma. Get you a fishing license, go out there, catch your supper, catch your breakfast, catch it somewhere, and then bring it around the fire, share it with family and friends. An outdoor experience like that you can't beat. It's like a Christmas present deluxe, it is. But we caught them, we cleaned them, and we gonna eat them. There's so much flavor that comes out of that first bite. You get that rosemary right off the top and some of that little bit of dill weed But that striper is so white, so flaky, you can see it there. I mean, this is a great fish to bake, folks. It ain't just made for frying. But when you drizzle that sauce over the top, that good original seasoning we have on there, this is 5-star dining, and we didn't have to kick the Michelin tires or nothing.